Hey everyone, we did so good today. I'm learning about right triangle trig and I'm just going to do some examples. Definitely, friends, definitely take the time to practice your theta. It's a circle and then you come around the middle. And then I told you that when it's typed, it does look a little different. You ready? Here we go. So right here we should have the formula. So the formula is sine of theta is the opposite side over the hypotenuse side. And these are lengths of the triangle. Divide to make a ratio. This is always an angle. So it's always the sine of an angle. Hi, you can never have, it is not sine times something. This is sine of theta, just like we did log of x, sine of theta. It's a function on to the angle. It changes the angle. This is a cosine of theta is equal to the adjacent A over H, the hypotenuse side. This is in order. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. There's actually four parts to these. There's the trig function of the angle, 1, trig function, 2, and then the two pieces, opposite over adjacent. Okay, sine is nothing. It means nothing on its own. Did I do the right apostrophe there? I don't know. Okay, it always has to be, always has to be sine of theta, and same thing with the other ones. So sine is nothing on its own. It's always sine of an angle. Okay. All right, you ready for some examples? These were like beautiful steps and I squished them into a paragraph. So these are very, very important. To find a missing side. That's what trig is for, you guys. Oh, ready? Sorry. These are for example 2, 3, and 4. But let's just look at example 1. Find the sine of A. Now, why is it not theta? It doesn't matter, you guys. They just called this vertex A, but we're talking about this angle. Do we have enough room? That's going to be small, right? Small. You ready? Sine of A will equal the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse side. Now watch. The right angle always points to the hypotenuse. So 30 will always be the hypotenuse in this triangle. But sine, what's the formula for sine? Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, so what is side? What side? Sorry, I'm fumbling my words here. What side is opposite vertex A or angle A? Is it 18 or is it 24? Okay, it's going to be 24. So 24 is opposite because 18 is next to A, which means adjacent. So we don't use adjacent for sine. We only use opposite over hypotenuse. That's all we're supposed to do here. Find the sine of A, cosine of A, and tangent of A, as well as the sine of B, cosine of B, and tangent of B. Always reduce fractions and rationalize the denominator. Can this be reduced? Division by 2 would be 12 over 15. Yeah? Okay. Let's do cosine now. So what is the cosine of A? We don't say cos or cos. Cosine is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So look at A. Now those are going to be different for C. Oh, I messed up. I made typos. Okay, that's okay. Cosine of A. So what side is adjacent to A? Now, is 30 next to angle A? Yeah, 30 is next to it, but 30 is always going to be the hypotenuse. So 18 is the adjacent leg. The opposite and the adjacent are always legs, the legs of the triangle. Okay, adjacent over hypotenuse. Can this be reduced? We can divide by 2 and we'll get that. And then cosine, sine, cosine, the tangent of A. So what's tangent? So toa. So toa means we're going to do the opposite side. What's opposite? Divided by the adjacent side. And then we're going to reduce our fractions. Okay, you know, I typed this up and I made a mistake because I did the B, but we're not finding the sine of 90 degrees, the cosine of 90, or the tangent of 90. I can tell you what they're equal to if you want. Let's see here, I'm doing this from memory. The cosine at 90 degrees is going to equal 0. The sine of 90 degrees is 1, and that means the tangent at 90 degrees is undefined, and we will discover those in a month or two. I don't know. We'll see. Coming up. What I did want to do is the sine of C, this cosine of C, and the tangent of C to show you that it's going to be different. So over here in our margin, let's do that. So now we're changing our perspective. You guys talk about perspective, right? In English or maybe theater. We're going in from a different perspective now. So from this perspective, 18 is now the opposite side and 24 is the adjacent. So you notice how I didn't label it when we were doing this one because I knew they were going to change. So if you did label this as the opposite of A and this as the adjacent to angle A, just cross those out, okay? Now coming from C, 24 is now the adjacent side and 18 is the opposite side. Okay, you ready? Sine of C. Sine means opposite over hypotenuse, 18 over 30, and that reduces to 9 over 15. All right, cosine of angle C will be 24 over 30, and that reduces to 12 over 15. And the tangent of C, so coming from C opposite, is 18 divided by 24. 9 over 12. Okay, and if you want to compare, like, it would be a really good idea to notice that the sine of A is equal to the cosine of C, and the sine of C is equal to the cosine of A, and the tangent of A and C are reciprocals. Just to go, oh yeah. All right, you ready for some math? That's kind of what I wanted to say. We're 8 minutes in, and I haven't really done the example I wanted to do. Okay, these steps are for example 2 and 3 and 4. You ready? To find a missing side, that's what we're doing here, of a right triangle. You would probably say use Pythagorean theorem, but to use Pythagorean theorem, you would need 2 sides to find the third side. So what is trig for? In high school math, as a sophomore, junior, trig is for finding a missing side when you know an angle and one side. So we don't know 2 sides, so we can't use Pythag. That's middle school. So for high school, we have an angle and a side, and that means we need trig. You ready? Here we go. This is the most important part. Choose the correct trig function. So you don't get to guess. I think I'll use sine for this one, or tangent. You have to use the correct one based on what's given to you in the picture. Do you notice that this side is missing? What side is that? That's the hypotenuse. So which of these trig functions doesn't use hypotenuse? Which one doesn't have the h? TOA. Okay. Tangent refers to the opposite side and the adjacent side. Okay. Since we see the opposite side equals x and the adjacent side equals 12, we must use tangent. So it's not random. We have to use the correct trig function. We can't set this up with sine, we can't set this up with cosine. Okay, so step 1, choose the correct trig function based on what is given to you. Step 2, write the 4-part trig equation. as a math teacher, as the grader, I see this in 4 parts. I see part 1, part 2, part 3, and we're going to have a quiz where I'm grading. You're going to get 4 points. Can you fill in these 4 parts correctly? How does it go? What goes here? And they match these. What trig function did we pick? We picked tangent. Okay, so it has to go tangent of the angle equals opposite over adjacent. So right here goes tangent of the angle. What angle? I'm still here. 68 degrees. Tangent of the angle is equal to the opposite side. The opposite side is x. And the adjacent side, the one right next to the 68, is 12. Tangent of 68 equals x over 12. Step 1, choose the correct trig function. Step 2, write the 4-part trig equation. Step 3, what does this say? Isolate the x. Ready? If x is being divided by 12, how do we isolate it? How do we undo division by 12? We're going to multiply both sides by 12. Okay, I'm going to clean up my work. Normally, you're not going to have those boxes. You ready? 12 times the tangent of 68 equals x. Simplify for the exact answer. This is the exact answer. Use a calculator for the approximate depending on the instructions or the answer key. Okay, we're going to type this in the calculator. I don't know if you have it. This is an easy one, y'all. You just literally type in what you see. So we have 12 times the tangent of 68. Can you see that? Is it clear? 12 times the tangent of 68. Hit enter. Ta-da! That's x. What is x? X is that side. So this is going to be 20. And we're going to round to 3 decimal places. Do we have units? Nope. So that's x. It's kind of funny, you know, your goal is to find x. Let's do another example. Mark your angle. This is the angle we're looking at. What was given to us? Across from the right angle is always the hypotenuse. And is this adjacent or opposite compared to 54? This is adjacent. So notice how I labeled it. I labeled this A and H. A. So which one uses A and H only? This one. So what trig function are we going to use? Cosine. Ready? Here we go. The cosine of 54 degrees is x over 12. Choose the correct trig function, set it up. How do we get x? I'm a little perturbed that there was x divided by 12 in example 2 and 3, but that's okay, we'll get over it. Okay, what does x equal? X equals 12 times the cosine of 54, and we're going to just type that in. 12 times, press the cosine button, y'all have it, it's even on your smartphones. Cosine of 54, ta-da, 7.053. So x is approximately, you can use the approximate or the equals, it's fine. Circle your answer. Okay, how does this get harder? Right here, y'all. Right here. Tell me what trig function we're using. So the right angle points to always the hypotenuse. And is this 14? Is it opposite or next to? It's on the opposite side. So what trig function uses O and H? Sine. So how do we write it? Sine of 48 equals 14 over x. This is how it gets different. We can't multiply by 14 and we can't divide by 14 because x is in the denominator. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to write this over 1 and we're going to cross multiply. So we're going to get 14 equals x times the sine of 48. I can't believe I'm out of time. Oh my gosh. Just watch. So this is going to be 14 divided by the sine of 48. 14 divided by sine